Welcome to Internet Invasion Interview, and today we are talking to Jamie Kennedy, an amazing comedian and actor. I think you're really going to like this one. Where are you at? You in the living room?
Are we on?
Okay. Yeah.
We're on the Gary Show?
Yeah. You're
Why is your
honored to be
face
on
so
here.
red?
Oh,
What
I
it?
got like rosacea.
Oh, okay.
It's acting up. Like it acts up during stress. I could probably, I'll probably dial it out or
Oh,
something.
sorry.
No,
We'll
it
edit
happens.
that. I
It,
didn't know if
it,
that was a filter.
yeah, it's a filter to make my face more red. I'm so good looking that I have to put a filter on to make myself look less good. So it's a rosacea
I
filter to
swear to
help
God,
out.
I thought it was a filter.
It's weird. It doesn't act up. It acts up for stress. Like it's not always on
Dude,
there.
I've never seen you face red.
Yeah.
I've
Well, it's
known you a
redder than
long time.
normal. Yeah. Well, we're always seeing each other in the dark. That's comedy, people, not like other stuff.
Holy shit.
Here's the news. Jamie's gay. Oh, now it's even more red. It's weird.
It's
Now I'm getting
super
like
red.
flush. Oh,
Dude,
weird. You know
you
what it is?
look like,
I think it's
it's,
stress from doing a broadcast for the first time. I've never done this before. Never done this interview format.
why do you ask me to be the first fucking guinea pig?
I thought you'd be a good guinea pig. No, because you like tech stuff. You're
I
into all this
do.
stuff.
I
Are you
do.
all set up at home now? You got your Alexas. Oh, you don't have Alexa. You hate Alexa.
I
Didn't you just
love it,
redo
but
your house?
I don't trust it. Yeah, I'm doing my yard. I was gonna do it out there with the lights out, but
Yeah,
I've
I couldn't
been
even see
doing
you.
that,
See,
and I've
now I'm
been
less red a little bit. I'm still a little
yeah.
flushed, but
You look like a puckered butthole colored. Like you ever? Do you know what I mean? Like I've never seen you red, dude. I've eaten it with you at Swingers, and
yeah,
wow,
no,
you
I'm
got
I'm
like.
more red than normal because like
I
it's
think that's the
weird.
filter.
It's not the filter. I get like rosacea here and here, and I even covered up a little bit, but it's bad right now because I just from stress, whatever. It acts up
Are you
once in a
stressed
while.
out?
I think we're all. Aren't you stressed out? I think we're all stressed out, right?
I had just had ice cream.
I had ice cream too. That's actually the one thing that makes me happy. I got a $20 jar of chocolate, so that makes me
Yeah,
happy all the time. It's a good
you
thing.
love chocolate.
Yeah.
Dude,
For
remember? Why don't you tell the crowd what you did to me? I'll do it. I'll tell the
all
story.
right, go for
So
it.
Gary's like an IT genius, you know. So I'm like doing my shit. I got all my hard drives realigned because of Gary, and then I'm like, okay, let's go talk about the next steps. He goes, all right, meet me at Starbucks. So I go to Starbucks, and he's like, I'm gonna have a shake. And I'm like, I'm a truffle malt chocolate
It
shake,
was mint chip.
mint chip shake. All right, I get the fucking bill. $13 shake. $13 for a shake in a
I
little
should have gotten one to
Starbucks cup.
go.
I'm like, what is that? He's like, I don't know. It was a new type of shake.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
great.
you got a chop. You drank the whole thing though. You didn't waste it.
Yeah, yeah, it was amazing. All right, so here, let's go into some of your career because you've had actually. I actually did a little research for this, so I'm not a total moron. I could like talk to you about some stuff. And
Yeah.
first of all, what inspired you to go into comedy and acting? And did you go into comedy first, then acting, or how did that work out?
It's the last line. It's the last choice in line before alcoholism, Gary.
A lot of people can do both, though. They can multitask.
I I never really honestly I was talking about this the other day. I didn't really want to. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I actually kind of had an epiphany the other day. Like I kind of just wanted to get attention. You know what I mean? Like I lived in Philly. I loved California. I came out here when I was 9, and begged my mom to stay, and my mom and my dad like no. But I really loved it. Like I loved the beach, and I knew. So then my mom like knew I was kind of crazy and was like tried to enroll me into some acting stuff when I was like 10 and 11, and it was more like plays. I wasn't feeling it, you know. Like I loved Jack Tripper, you know. I
Hmm.
loved Gilligan's Island. So I was like, I want to be on there. I want to be on the TV, and she didn't really know how to do that. She was pretty encouraging though, and then just went to school, all stupid school. And then I was about 15. I had a teacher who was a stand-up comic. And he was like, how we know those guys now. His dream was to be a comic, but he was our regular teacher. And he was funny. He would do like, different voices, Jack Nicholson and stuff. And I'm like, this guy's hilarious. And then I didn't realize that you could do that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, long story short, I started as an extra, and then I went into I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but I started as an extra because I liked it. I was like, oh, this is cool, being on a set and like learning how to do this. And then somebody's like, you should do stand up because you have a lot of energy and you have like you have all these ideas. And I was like, wow, how do you do that? And then they're like, boom, go sign up on open mics. And so then there's a paper, which you probably know, called the Drama Log.
Mm-hmm.
And every Thursday it would come out and they would put all the open mics on it. So then I would just sign up and I started going. And then the thing about it, I liked doing it was because it was proactive,
Yeah.
so you can do that. You don't have to wait. Like you send your tape into a casting director, you have to wait. This one, you didn't have to wait. So I thought this is cool. And so I did them both, and I mean, that's how a lot of people did when I was starting up. You did both. You did because you wanted to get, and stand-up gave me a lot of my acting breaks. More people know me as an actor, but it was through stand-up. The Laugh Factory showcases, my first commercial, my first movie audition, my first TV guest spot, all came off of that stage.
Oh wow, yeah. It makes you better as an actor, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it make you ready to audition and just more present and
Definitely. I think, if you're going to be an entertainer, you should be able to do everything. I think you should be able to act and sing and move and dance and whatever, I mean, that's what we do, right? So as a comedian, it's really good. That's why I like comics and run around and perform because you're using your instrument. So yeah, we're struck. We don't know what the hell we're gonna go against. 1 minute you're Tony Roma's, it's 10 people in the back, but you're killing. Next, you're doing a church group for 100 people, and you offended them all. Another time, you're doing the last spot in a club at 1 a.m. and people are pissed. Who knows? But you'll be not scared of anything.
yeah, and you bring a lot of performance to the stage also. Like you do act outs, you do a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of tools that a lot of people don't utilize for your stand up. You can bring from acting, I guess.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. I love to. I love it. Like some kid told me recently, he saw me and he was like, "Yo, man, you're like old school. Like you're not scared to get up there and go really act it out." I'm like, "Well, that's what comedy is. You gotta just kind of commit, to whatever it is. If you gotta sell the bit.
Yeah.
But I also love a good wordsmith, obviously. But I love, a perfect combination is like good performance and then good jokes, and then obviously good you know, thought processes. I don't know. I was sitting there watching so many YouTube videos on the way home today, dude. I'm like, how are we going to talk about anything original? Like, literally, everyone's talking about everything. Like, how are we going to even do that?
Well, I mean, not everybody knows how you started out and stuff. I think people know you for a lot
No,
of
I'm
different
saying
roles.
for comic. You're a
Oh,
comic.
as far as stand up
Like,
comedy, yeah,
yeah. Like, how are we even going to?
we all draw
It's
from the
like,
same pools of influence, I guess. There's a lot of
I
parallel
know.
thinking, but there's ongoing crazy stuff happening, like whether it's politically, with the virus, with society. I mean, there's always something new going on.
Yeah.
There's always something to talk about. I mean, I've seen you come up with numerous new bits since I've known you, like in all different areas, and I think we all draw from different areas of our life. So, there's always something to
Try.
talk about. So around 1996, you did both Romeo and Juliet and Scream. So how was
Yeah.
your life before and different before and after that? Because those are two very big films to be in.
It's a good question. Um, I was starting to get from like 90, I started comedy in 1990, so 30 years ago. Really started doing it more serious in January of 91. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And so for 91 to like 94, I was open mic pretty much every night. And that's all I could get. And then, like, signing up at the OR and the factory and all that stuff. And then around 94, I started getting like little guest spots, pop in. And got my agent, got manager. I had a woman managing me, and she had a deal at Universal. So I'd always go to her office every day, and I would just, she would talk to me about the breakdowns and this and that. And I started getting a little bit of money from acting. And then, I was starting to meet people, but I didn't really have anything going. And then I started getting auditions. Then I got a little commercial, then I got another little commercial, and I was like, whoa. So it started happening. But when I got those movies, that was like two like burgeoning movies, but no one knew what they were gonna be. So it was totally a new experience. It was like my first and second movie.
Wow.
And it was just wildly creative, fun, insane, like crazy, awesome time. So it was like before, but when we came out, Romeo and Juliet was coming out against. Remember this movie? I'll never forget it because it was a Bill Murray movie, and it was an elephant. I think it was Bill Murray, Janine Garofalo, and an elephant. You know what I'm talking about? It was
Vaguely,
a
yeah.
yes, I forget what movie it was. And my manager's like, you got Bill Murray, something else, and you guys. And I think we came and made the exact amount of money as the Bill Murray movie.
Hmm.
No one expected Romeo and Juliet. And then Scream, it was us, Mars Attacks, and George Clooney movie, One Fine Day. And we were like, oh God, we're going to get. So I had no experience, but both of the movies opened up strong, and then both of them held. And then it was a different ballgame because you were in not only one, but two hit movies within 2 months.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
And
also the Scream one, you're very prominent in that movie trailer too. Like actually both Scream 1 and 2, you're prominent in both those movie trailers. Was it a trip seeing that movie trailer for that second movie you're in and like you're a big part of it obviously? And then seeing the movie and
yeah, I mean, I definitely went to the movie theater and saw that, and I was like, oh shit, because that's it's a big deal. I mean, it's kind of like a big, like, oh yeah, like, because if you're in the movie, that's a huge get, but then when like you realize that you're in the trailer, that means they're using you to sell the movie, and that trailer played with other big movies, and I was like, oh shit. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. I remember that. I was a little freaked out actually. I saw it at Man's Chinese. I was like, whoa, that's just kind of crazy.
yeah, and both Scream 1 and 2. Like in the movie trailer for 2 because you're giving the rules for everything in horror films. So you're prominent in both trailers. It's really interesting. If you look on YouTube right now, like you're kind of the backbone of those movie trailers. It's interesting. And great movies.
I didn't even know that. I
How
knew
did
I
you
was in the
prepare?
second one.
Yeah. How did you prepare for that role? Because your performance in those is so like natural. Like it looks like you're very experienced when you're in those roles.
Oh, thank you. I mean, look, I had a lot of practice from, like you said, like a stand up. A lot of it sometimes we had to go off the cuff and you don't know what the hell's going to happen. And tons of auditioning, not getting stuff. Remember my first big job was called The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes. I don't know if you remember that. It was a remake and Kirk Cameron had it. And it was for the Disney Channel. And I was like, it was between me and the one other guy. And I was like, I didn't get it. And I was so bummed out. I was like, oh, it was going to be my big break. And, but like dialogue, back then we had a lot of dialogue. I mean, you still have a lot of dialogue when you audition now, but the casting directors, you'd have these work sessions. So in a weird way, you get better because it's not like today. You'd go in, you'd work, you try it again, you'd step out, come back in, try this. So I would just say practice and then stand up and then also just the great writing, great
Yeah,
writing.
really good writing too.
And the director was like, okay, do what you want to do. And Wes didn't really say much direction. He's kind of one of those people that just hires people that he likes and lets them kind of go. And then I had so much confidence from coming off Romeo and Juliet, and the director was so encouraging to me, and then Wes was like, man, you're like, he's like, you're gonna go and do this. This role is you, dude. I was really lucky. I worked with these like legends, but they're also very loving. You know, they were like, you're the man for this. And I
Yeah.
was like, really? And they're like, yeah. And then like different cast members like, you're perfect for this role. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Well,
so
that's what I
that
mean.
felt
It's like
good.
you, yeah, no, you seem perfect for that role. And that's why I was so amazed that it's one of your first ones because normally there is a time that it takes for actors to develop and kind of finally get their stride. And you seem to just have it right there, right off the bat. So that was impressive.
But there's definitely some moments that are like a little psycho in it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, was that the writing? But that's like partially me. Like there's that the video store scene, you can see me having that freak out, like you know me,
Yeah.
and I'm like, so
But
it's
it
kind.
works for
I
the
don't know.
character too.
Yeah,
So then you think he might be one of the killers because the whole time we're thinking he could be one of the killers too.
yeah, I
So
infused
it helps.
myself in it, but
Yeah.
it's I don't know, man. It's all just a crapshoot, you know.
Yeah. So and after that, 1996, you worked with Tony Scott
Looking at my
on
notes.
Enemy of the State.
Yeah,
Tony Scott, one of my all time favorite directors too. Do you remember anything about working with him? How he was different from?
yeah. He's another one. I mean, dude, it's a different time. Like, imagine a time where you go in and you read. Right? He's like, all right, come here. Right, come here, try it. He always smoked these big cigars.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, try this line there. You want to try it there? Right. And what else would the character say? All right, okay, I'll say this. All right. He just totally encouraging dude. It's always the great ones that you work with, and the great people are great.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to tell people watching this. Like, great ones are great. Like, so like I auditioned for that. I went out of the room. I tried something else. I went out of the room, and he's like, "All right, skedaddle. You great." I'm not doing his accent right because I feel like my nose is stuffed up. But
Well, I talked to Raymond J. Barry, and he said the same thing. He worked with Oliver Stone on some stuff, and these great directors just know how to bring out the great performances or how to let the actors fly a little bit for themselves. So,
yeah,
yeah,
Tony Scott took me into his trailer. Okay, towards the end of Enemy of the State, and showed me scenes from a John Woo film. I forget what it was. Was it one maybe Hard Boiled or something?
that could be it. Yeah.
And he's like, "You see this shootout?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Our shootout's gonna be like this, but on steroids." And I was like, "This is already on steroids." He's like, "Super fucking steroids, man. Super fucking steroids." And I was like, "Holy shit, this is gonna be incredible!" And he just wanted me to get the feel of it, you know, and
Yeah.
how to slide around because my character is one of the few that has survived it. And he loved funny people, you know. He worked with myself. He worked with Scotty Kahn. He worked with John Leguizamo. He
Well,
worked with Jack Black.
yeah.
I mean, our movie had so many different people in it, and he loved people to improvise. Try it this way. And I mean, that's different world now, dude. Going in for a big movie, improvising, having fun. You don't think you try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Now today, they'll hold your balls against the wall for a guest spot. You know, and Murder in the First ninth season. Guest spot. I mean, it's like, right? I mean, it's a different
Yeah.
world.
Well,
People overthink
also,
it.
yeah, I mean, it's amazing, but also, how intimidating was it being on that set with Will Smith, Gene Hackman, John Voight? I mean, you have some of the best actors in the world. Well, I guess you did this already because you were on Romeo and Juliet, but Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't at that level yet. That was fairly
He
early
was
in his career.
breaking.
Yeah,
Leo was about to become Leo. I think that you know what, dude. I just always went in and like did my work. I always made sure I had my day planned, and I always like when I do a movie now, but it's less stressful because I didn't want to ever mess up. So I always made sure I was prepared, and then once I know I have a couple of takes, let it fly. But once you're on the set and you start feeling it, then you feel more comfortable, and it starts with the top, And like Tony was one of those guys. Just the most beautiful soul, dude. Class act. Beautiful. I still use my script cover that he gave me. This beautiful Italian leather script holder. You know, one we were over production a couple of weeks. Every week he'd send us a new gift, a camera, beautiful bouquet of flowers. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Like he's the greatest. Like
Yeah.
just a classy guy. And you, yeah, I mean, being on the set, it was funny because Jason Lee was kind of our home, you know, our crony, and Barry Pepper was getting to know. So some people we knew, I knew, and other people I looked up to, but I just kind of, I'm like a different generation. I'm like, you know, Jamie should be seen and not heard, you know, and that's how like no one understands that now, but you'll get that. It's like, man, I don't address anybody until they address me on a set like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they like that. And so then I would come out and do my thing.
And then on Bowfinger, that one has Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy and Robert Downey.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have
We're
been.
doing a
So
career. We're doing a career. I didn't
yeah,
know
we're
we
just
were
going
doing that one.
yeah, stop by stop in the career because it's very interesting because like there's a different progression in how things go, and then these people you work with are iconic too.
Iconic. I couldn't even believe that was a movie like going to school every day. Like that was like going to like just comedy super basically going to like the Wharton of comedy school, if that makes, you know what I mean? Like the
What did you
super
learn on that
exclusive.
set? Yeah, I mean, those are two of the most iconic, best comedians in
I
history.
just, and also Frank Oz directing, you know, who's
Yeah,
only, not only a great director, but he's, you know, the voice of Yoda, the voice of Mrs. Piggy, the voice of Fozzie. I mean, he is Fozzie there. Um, I
yeah. Yoda would
just,
kill me too because I mean that's
yeah, I
Empire Strikes
mean,
Back. Yoda giving the advice. I still go by some of that
yeah,
advice, so it's just incredible.
I just, again, I was always treated so nicely, you know, and people were like, I think once you passed the audition and you got in and, you know, you made somebody laugh and, you know, they thought you were, you know, funny and cool. It was cool. And I learned, I was so, I mean, I got to work with Steve every day. He was the most giving, the most encouraging, and just, he's just like, I was like his little sidekick, you know, it was incredible. And Eddie, you know, I didn't really get to work with him that much except like a scene or two with everybody. And he's just when he would just be quiet and then he'd turn it on, like incredibly hilarious,
Yeah,
improvising most of his stuff. Just, you know, brilliant.
yeah,
And then Heather, you know, is this ingenue who's like blowing up there. It was just awesome set.
yeah.
I mean, really, literally, like I say, when you work with great people, great things happen. It's
Yeah,
usually
and you can
the.
always like learn little things, like you just notice a little something that helps you in your own performance or own life or
Here's what I
something.
learned. Steve Martin did this. He said, I learned this trick from him. He said, here's how to never say anything bad about people in Hollywood. I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, you go to a premiere, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and somebody comes up and says, so how you like the movie? He goes, just repeat everything they say. How do I like the movie? And he was like, you think it was good? Did I think it was good? And he just says repeat everything they say with that emphasis, and you'll never get in trouble, and you're not lying. That's what he said. That's what he had
That's
said.
hilarious.
Oh my god, he taught me a lot of tricks.
Man. And then, okay, well, this is also interesting because then you took another kind of career. Well, not a total career turn, but you're working in a lot of dramas too. And it's funny because you're a comedian, you're a funny guy. Next film you did, well, not the next, but you did The Three Kings with Clooney, Wahlberg, and Ice Cube in 1999. And how was that set different? Because it's not a total. I mean, there's some comedic elements to that, but it's not really comedy.
Dude, listen to the movies you're naming. How many movies they make like this now? I mean, they make good movies now, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
these are auteur type movies that were driven by the people who directed it, wrote it, edited it, and
exactly.
they're all like us in the sense that they're all wild. You know, these directors are awesome, man. Like, you never feel like you never you never feel like you make a mistake because they're human. They're so empathetic, and they're so much like they understand the neuroses. They understand the highs and lows of what we do, and so it's incredible working with them. Like David O. Russell is a prime example. I mean, he wrote this wild movie that was so ahead of its time, and was Mark and Ice Cube and George, and then he sprinkled all these other characters in, and he put, I was lucky to be in it. A lot of my scenes with Nora Dunn, talk about another comedic legend.
Yeah.
Me and Nora just were improvising all the time, and David just loved it. He encouraged it. We would have these read-throughs, we'd have these rehearsals, and he would say, "Oh yeah, try that, keep that, okay, try that, no, say it like this." He was always pressing buttons, doing a maestro. And Nora just had so many good ideas, and then we would just go. Me and her would go to Holiday Inn in the little where we stayed. We lived in a Holiday Inn for like 2 months, and we would go to the little cafeteria and come up with ideas, and then I would tell her, like, ask her questions about SNL, and it was like awesome. So it was great. I mean, again, we improvised a ton.
And did we have an earthquake? I don't know.
No, I didn't feel it. Did you feel it?
It's just something.
Earthquake.
So
I don't feel it. You feel it?
yeah, just the other night.
Okay, go ahead.
It was also interesting because you're a big hip hop fan and you're working with Ice Cube.
Hip hop.
So was it? Yeah, I mean you've been a big fan of hip hop since you were younger, right? And how was it working with Ice Cube? I mean, were you a fan of Ice Cube before working with him on that?
Oh yeah, big fan. Big fan. I mean, he's cool, man. He's as real as he comes, man. Like again, though, everybody kind of had their own thing happening. But he was dope. I mean, I used to do this joke where I would say, I tried to get to know him when I'd be on set, and I'd be like, "Morning, Cube," and he'd be like, "Yeah, yeah," and I just walk away. I said, "I'm going to craft service now." Yeah, yeah. And then that was pretty much our relationship. No, I'm kidding. I love you, Cube. My nose feels stuffed up. I had 2
really?
scoops of ice cream, Gary.
What kind of ice
2.
cream?
I didn't know we were doing a Criterion collection tonight. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's a good test because I got to do all these online interviews. So I thought I'd
Well,
try
I'm with
this out.
Donut, and Donut goes into the ice cream place, and she's like, "Do you guys give samples?" And the dude literally looks at her and goes, "Pandemic." Pandemic.
Oh my!
Do you give samples? Yeah, I'm in a fucking worldwide pandemic. Can I have a side of that bat chocolate, please?
So you're still going out a lot, relatively, for
Dude, I
considering
just
the
started
pandemic.
doing it. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I gotta go out. But I
What do you
wear
wear?
my
Do you look
masks. I
like
do
in
my
the Road Warrior?
protocol.
You got masks.
I
You have a
have
face
my
shield?
mask. Sometimes I wear gloves. No, but I don't even know because I'm testing it. Like, it's weird. Like, I met Jay Davis. We bought food and sat in a park away from each other.
Yeah.
And then I play tennis sometimes. That's safe.
Fine. Yeah, you're sticking away from people. It's really
I
when you're
did go to.
outdoors.
I went to Whole Foods. Is that bad? I went on Friday night. It's not that packed.
If there's nobody around, and I think the air ventilation is pretty good, you're probably relatively safe. But you just never know. I mean, it's just a tough deal we're in right
I
now.
just don't know. I thought we were going down. Are we going up? I have no fucking idea.
Every other day it's different, so it's kind of hard to figure it all out. But so in 2000, hold on,
Earpieces down.
little secret here.
IFB.
What?
Your IFB was out. You have such a nice view from your apartment there.
Well, this is a virtual set, but
No, it's not.
Well, I took
Is
it from
it?
my apartment. This background I took from upstairs, so this is right next to my place, but I just moved it around a little bit. So this is
I'm
like the view
impressed.
from upstairs, basically. So in 2000, you worked with on the specials with Craig Mazin. I worked with him in an advertising firm years ago.
You did?
Yeah, it's funny because when I went through your whole resume of stuff, I realized, oh, okay, it's commonality here and stuff. Yeah, so we worked at an
amazing.
advertising firm together. I was like we were both little PAs. We were like nothing, and then he went off to work for Disney at some point, and I went into promos and stuff, and he did what Hangover 1 or 2, I think. I think he wrote Hangover 2.
2 and 3.
Yeah, and then he really did amazing work with this HBO series. Did you
I
see it?
gotta watch this. Everyone, I just won won like a record number of awards at BAFTA too.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, it's such an important piece of work because it is really. And then he went in his speech. He talked about the importance of truth because we're not seeing a lot of that in politics today. So that was interesting. Did you learn anything on that set, or did you have fun on that one?
That's a great question. Hey, did you learn anything or what?
Well, that one you were doing, it
Jesus.
was comedy, right? I haven't even seen that movie, to be honest.
I was my first thing produced. I helped produce. I helped put the whole thing together. Craig wanted to direct. James Gunn wrote the
Hmm.
script.
Oh, amazing director
Um,
too. He's done a lot of
yeah,
TV.
so we put and then Peter Safran, who's a big producer now, found he liked the script and we put all the pieces together. He did a lot of it, and then we got Rob Lowe, and Rob like kind of got the movie greenlit, and it was awesome because it was like working with your friends and trying stuff, being pressure but less pressure because we were more in control. It was like
Yeah.
trying to find a new, trying to see how you can produce movies.
Well, it's interesting because you really got involved in that as far as producing movies. Because then you did Malibu's Most Wanted, which you wrote
Yeah,
that, right?
helped write it. Yeah, I was one of
Yeah.
the writers.
So you're one of the writers on that. So you're really getting behind the camera more and taking more authorship of some of the work you're doing. Um,
Not that I wanted to. It just if I'm not getting the roles I want, and I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna make something funny, and people like funny, and I was like, well, I had this character, and then people really liked it, and I'm like, there could be a movie here, and it's like, the best entree into people's hearts is through comedy. I think so. That's why I wanted to do it.
yeah. Well, that's an iconic role because everybody seems to have seen that, and a lot of people love it. But also, I think that's a great lesson for almost every actor out there. Why wait to be cast? Try to create something and then cast yourself and then produce it.
Yeah,
Put
no,
something out.
everybody that you like that has made a mark in this business, most of them have done that. I mean, the Farley brothers, Ben Stiller,
Sylvester
Owen
Stallone.
Wilson, Adam Sandler. Everybody creates their own thing. Even big actors, put their movies together. George Clooney, and so it's like you kind of have to because what are you gonna get made? The studios are just. I don't know. The whole business is changing, but you gotta,
Yeah.
if you want to do something, you gotta put it together.
Yeah. Well, it's
I
tough now
believe.
because even more and more, it's films by committee or superhero
Oh, the
movies, and
worst.
yeah,
Films by committee is the fucking worst, dude. Anything
yeah,
by committee. You cannot create something by committee. You have to have a vision, and somebody has to have a strong vision of what they want. And that means somebody's feelings could get hurt because their ideas are going to get shot down. And that's what people don't understand. And that's okay. It's the creative sandbox. But yeah, there's got to be a person that's in charge. Just like when you do comedy, you got to get up there, hit them with the first joke, and once you do, the audience is going to trust you.
yeah. And have you ever seen Hearts of Darkness: A Filmmaker's Apocalypse?
Of
About the making of,
course.
yeah, that's one of the
Do you
great
know how
documentaries about filmmaking ever.
it's so good? And also the one of the guys who executive produced my show, Jimmy Kenny Experiment, Fax Bar was one of the he that was his movie. It's a
Oh
fucking
wow,
great movie.
yeah, it's amazing.
Dude, it's so good. It's
Well,
so good that movie.
that ought to be inspirational for any artist that sometimes he's got to take the risk and go out and make something and then worry about the consequences later. And
Yeah. Making these movies, man, so many people don't want to take chances. That's why, they don't want to people could say what they say stuff about like superhero movies. There's so many superhero movies, but Marvel took a lot of chances.
yeah, oh, and they're great. I was just watching Avengers:
They're
Infinity
awesome
War.
movies.
That could be one of the best superhero movies ever made. It's an amazing movie, Infinity
It's
War.
so good, and it's
Yeah,
so like people don't understand that before Marvel did that. Yeah, there's a ton of Marvel movies, but they're really good. And I'm not even a comic book person. But the other thing is that they took a lot of chances when they did Iron Man. That was a big risk. They could have gone belly up.
yeah,
Like you got to read that story. It's incredible, but they took chances and then they paved new ground. So they deserve all the rewards.
and they are amazing. Like if you, all those films hold up
Yeah,
really,
the
really
films are
well.
grounded in reality with all the special like superhero stuff happening. It's incredible.
Yeah. So, and then in 2007, you did Kicking It Old School, and I saw
You
that. Great
know,
film, fun with Bobby
thanks,
Lee.
buddy.
Uh,
Bobby, yeah.
it's cool that you've, in that comedy community, I know you're still friends with Bobby Lee, and you see him around the Comedy Store and different comedy interviews
Yes.
and stuff. So he's frankly, I think he's the funniest podcast interview I've ever seen. Every time I see the guy being interviewed, he's hilarious.
Yeah, he's
He's
awesome.
yeah. So you worked on Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell for Netflix, and ironically, I'd rather be in the universe where there's Tremors instead of the pandemic. At least we can go outside, right?
Yeah.
How's working on that?
I mean, that was like crazy because it was like a lot of action. I got to do shit that I normally never get to do, and it was so much. It was awesome and it was intense. I scuba dived, I
Oh wow,
rappelled, I shot guns, I drove trucks. It was like dude school.
yeah, and you're like an action
Um,
hero in that. So you've evolved
yeah,
from the nerdy kid in Scream who's pointing
yeah.
out the rules to now you're an action star.
I know it's pretty great. Like
That's a big
Don
evolution.
Michael Paul really knows how to write for me. He wrote some really great dialogue, and I had a good time. I love those movies. I think those movies could have came out and been big theatrically, but
Yeah,
they have a great following, and people watch them on Netflix and stuff.
yeah. And then you've done a ton of TV too. Do you find TV acting any different from film acting? I mean, I guess the volume can be a little more, but
The volume.
well, as far as the pages per day, well, I know. I guess there could be a lot of pages on film per day too.
Yeah, no, TV's much quicker. TV, if with film, you do a page a day, and you take your time, and you have so much time and to go through it and practice. With TV, it's like, and it's like two takes and you're done. You kind of have to make peace with it. So it's kind of, I kind of, the way you should do it is like, if you're a stand up, you should like do stand up. Although Hollywood's completely changed, so everything's everything now. But like, you should do stand up, then get on TV because it's a good practice run. Like the hardest job in our business is a soap star.
Yeah,
They 50 pages
it's
a
a
day.
grind.
Like I'm dead serious. Like
Mm.
I've been with soap stars. I know soap stars. I've helped them like rehearse. Mad respect. It's the hardest job. So like every day you're doing a script. So, but like you should do stand up because it makes you good. You're free, and then if you want to act, you go into TV, and then in the film because you get more nuanced. I went right from stand up to movies. Good, I did some TV and some commercials, but really good movies. And so the I had this luxury of like learning under the tutelage of amazing people. And then when I started doing TV, it was like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, well, let's take our time. I want to try this and this. No, sun's going down. We don't have much time. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
budget.
come on, dude. I just get. Nope, this is what it is. We got a crew lunch in 15 minutes. I'm like, dude, what do you fucking? I just shot a scene in the sunset in Africa a year ago. You're telling me, nope, gotta go. Union rules. So it's like TV was more like a fucking office job. I mean, I'm not dissing TV, but it was like, all right, here we go, middle
Yeah, it's just
manager. Here we
quick.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
budgets are
film is
limited,
like,
times limited, the turnaround's extremely limited.
yeah,
Yeah,
film some dude smoking a cigar, going, oh, look at that vista. Huh? I mean, it's much, I hate to say that, it's much more artistic.
yeah.
So it's like, so I,
Well, it gets
in a
back to the
perfect
committee thing
world,
we're talking about. Because
yeah,
TV is
but
really by committee because the producers are really in control. They got to run it
yeah.
quickly, Yeah,
In a perfect world, you would shoot movies. You'd go around the world shooting movies in different locations and have the best time. That's awesome. TV's great, but it's not. I mean, there's great TV, obviously, but I don't know. Some of it gets a little high strung.
yep. It's hit and miss. I guess Netflix and some of the streaming stations are giving a little more opportunity for some higher budgets and more control, I guess, but we'll see where it goes. And the amazing thing is, so between all the TV and films, you've been doing stand up the whole time, right? Have you ever taken a long break from stand up or have you been pretty consistent?
I always had. I mean, probably from like 95 to like 98. I would say 3 years I was kind of off. I was like, am I going to do this? Am I really going to do it? And then once I got an agent and she's like, I could probably get you in colleges. And so I started doing colleges, and to get good, I only had like 10 minutes. I started opening for different people. So I started opening for Saget and Craig Shoemaker, and because the comedians I would run into other comedians on sets, like they'd be in a movie I'd be in or something, and Rick Overton, and so they would let me do guest spots, and I was it was great. I mean, like there was Ian Bagg told me, he was like, remember, he's like, man, you get that guest spot. It was Ian Bagg was the host. I forget, somebody else was the. He just said this, dude. He said, remember you did Irvine? You came in the guest spot, and I think it was like Ian Bagg was the host, Jim Gaffigan was the middle, and Ralphie May was the headliner, and then I did the guest spot. So it's
Good
like,
lineup.
I know. So it was like, wow, and so I started getting like 10. I had like 10 minutes, and then I got like 20 minutes, and 20 minutes was enough to go feature for people. But I was like really known, so I was like featuring for people, but they liked having me because I was known. But the clothes paid me pretty good because I was known. And then from there, I started getting like 20-minute spots at colleges, middling, and that was good money. And so I was like, okay, so if I did a movie and then I had 4 colleges, they would try to carve it out. So it was really about that, and then popping the improv and the factory and stuff when I could. But really, it was just different, you know. Just remember, you just did something and it was gone. It wasn't like talked about. There was no social, no tweeting.
Yeah, different world.
So, but yeah, and then I started doing weekends at clubs because they were great to me.
Yeah. What do you like and what don't you like about touring? Because you'll go all over the country. You've got. I've actually you went to Saudi Arabia, I think, a little while ago too. You've been around.
Last year,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I've kind of done it. Like, I've done shows in Africa, dude. I've done shows in Saudi Arabia. I've done shows in London. I've done shows in Iceland. It's awesome. Like Iceland was great. Like I went in, did my 2 shows, and then had the week. They paid for the week, and I just stayed there and explored the country. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Um, what do I like? I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm starting to think I've done it. Like I remember I played Dallas Improv. I played it for 20, almost for the last 20 years. I would say that and a Tempe Improv. I might have played like 17 or 18 times, almost every year. And there's something about the road. You get you get better in terms of what you're doing. You can really craft a joke, and you can really learn. Um, it's a good escape, being out there in the middle of nowhere. But then, it does get lonely. You start wondering, what's happening. But I do love the ability to do something kind of out there anonymously. But it's really not like that anymore because everyone has social media.
Yeah.
So you could bomb somewhere in Texas and then no one would see it. But that's how you get better when you go to New York. But now if you bomb in Texas, they probably see it.
Well, you do a lot of spots around here, and you've gotten better and better. Like
Yeah.
I've seen you like kill, destroy numerous times. And then you had
Thank
it. You
you.
just came out with a comedy special, Stupid Smart, this year. And
Yes.
what brought that about? Like, what made you want to bring out another comedy special, and how did you
I
prepare
don't
for it?
really. It's funny because I don't like people have been asking me to do spots, and I don't even know if I want to do them because I kind of just did my special, and I was like, I just, I kind of did it. I kind of have one more special, I think, in me with all the other bits that I didn't do from there,
Mhm.
which I was planning on shooting now, but I can't. And that special came out because I just, I had all this material, and I was like working, and everybody I was noticing, whether you put your special out on Netflix or YouTube or Amazon Prime, it seems to build your audience. You know what I mean? So you build. you come through it. Like before, I would just do it Comedy Central. They'd air it. You would hope, it's Showtime aired it, a lot. But now with the streamers, people can watch it when they want, whenever they want, and really follow you. So it's just another way to keep yourself relevant, and it's like good to do. You gotta do it. But I just think it's changing. I think almost you have to put bits out on all the time if you have them taped because, like I said, everyone's
Totally.
talking about so much. You gotta like claim a bit.
Yeah. And speaking of that, putting stuff out, you just came out with a channel on Vudu on Roku.
Roku, yeah.
Yeah, it's on Roku. It's on some of the other streaming services.
So no, it's on Roku. It's gonna be on Apple TV. It's gonna be on Fire Stick, and it's called Jizzy TV, and that was like my nickname, like nothing bad. Now it's like you can't say that because everyone's like Jizzy, what are you talking about? Jizzy, what? But like, it's basically I'm gonna put my old content up, and I'm gonna put my new content up, podcasts and stuff. But I'm gonna test the model. I want to
Yeah.
see. This guy came to me and he said, "Dude, I want to build your channel," and he was awesome. And I want to. It's basically you have to fucking opt into my channel. It's very simple. Go to your Roku and do it. But I'm gonna put new stuff up too. But it's I just don't like the idea that YouTube does all this shit to decide whether they monetize you or not.
Right.
And and Facebook does the same thing. Are you going to be monetized? And it's like they can also just deplatform you. You know what I mean? And it's weird. Roku doesn't do that.
Mhm.
So I want to go where it's the most chillest, platform, and it's basically like having your own channel, dude. You go on your TV, click your Roku. There's my shit.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in now. So what's the difference between that and something on the dish?
Yeah. That's cool. What?
I know
Oh,
it's
and
just stuff.
it's funny. You did a documentary called Heckler, and we've done
Yes,
I don't know 20 or 30 shows together. You've gotten
yes.
heckled more in that time than I've gotten in 7 years of doing stand up. Like, why do you think you
Wow.
get hecklers all the time?
Honestly, you want the truth?
Yeah. Well, I know you like it because you like the interaction. You like to engage the audience, too.
Yeah. I loved it. I love the interaction. I love the engage. It's exciting. Um, I think two things. One is because when I talk to people, they really believe I'm saying it. Like, like I did. I got a nice compliment the other day from another comedian. He said, "When I watch you, you seem natural. Like you're really talking."
Right.
And I appreciated that. Like thank you, because and I think that they actually believe it. Like they don't think I'm fucking faking it. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I do make some shit up, but other times I just fucking say the shit in a way that you believe I'm saying it for the first time.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, it sounds spontaneous. It sounds like you're
yeah,
having a conversation instead of uh, people might not realize this, but comedians we spend all this time preparing our bits and working out the wording and everything, and a lot of times it sounds like we're doing some monologue to nobody, and you sound like you're having a dialogue, so that really helps.
yeah. And then they so like sometimes I'll ask these questions, but they're not really asking. They're like rhetorical, and
Mm.
people will take it as a real deal. So that's number one. Number two is we have a more entitled community of people than ever before in the history of the human race. And number three is I say some shit that pisses people off. And then I jump, when they take my bait, and then I take their bait.
Yeah, I've seen it
And
back
people,
and
but
forth,
people,
even after.
yeah. Well, when you go
And
up there and you're
TMZ, yeah,
doing a
see me on
joke, and
TMZ.
oh god, yeah, some girls up there in the front row, like, it's like, did you just eat a lemon? Like, what the fuck? Like, people come to these clubs, man, and they don't. You got to really put a disclaimer out. Things are going to be said here that you're not going to hear at Trader Joe's.
Yeah, well, I love
Be
when you do your
prepared.
own you do your own disclaimer in the middle of your set. Sometimes it's really funny.
Oh yeah, this is
Comedy club.
this is a comedy
Yeah,
club.
just to
Yeah,
remind you, people,
just remember.
in case they
And people,
forgot and thought you were there in a street fight or something.
Well, it's like if you're fucking praying in church and somebody's like, "That's offensive." You got down, you kneel down. Well, you're in church. I mean, it's like dropping the weights in a gym. It's just, but dude, that's where we're at. I mean, you know what it is, dude? More and more people are being offended by shit because they have the voice, and basically everything can be heard now. So those people would never come and see me anyway, but if they do, they're gonna say some shit because they would have never made it to the improv. So they're like, fuck it. So it's like kind of we're playing to these crowds that would never see us anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
people are getting so offended because there's just not that many people that really love comedy. They think they do, but they really don't because they don't understand what it is. Comedy is push it. This is what you do. It's trying. The audience is the guitar. We got to see if we're in tune. So you're going to try shit that you may not like, but that's how you get better. It's the what's that word? Conundrum.
Yeah. Well, I call it a psychological attack on the audience sometimes, depending on the type. Everybody does a different type of comedy, though, so there's a lot of room.
But dude, think about it. Comedy is like this. Dr. Drew, right? You know what that is?
Yeah.
He said it's like the universe or God or something. He said it's like biology's cruel joke. That men's makeup is to put it in, spread your seed, and go away. We're literally like a seed spreading machine, like, right? Biologically speaking. And women are to nurture and grab and to hold and grow, right?
Yeah.
Yet we're attracted to each other, and it's two completely different things, right? It's like a cruel joke, right? Like our makeups, because we're opposite, right? And I find that with comedy, it's like we only get better by saying things that might piss you off, and we won't know if it'll piss you off until we fucking say it.
Yeah. We got to find the line and maybe get up to it and hopefully not cross over too much.
We'll cross over it and burn it.
Yeah. Whatever works.
The rotation went down on that one, Gary.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good. I can use some visual effects and cover it up maybe. So, what are your plans from here? Like, where do we go from here? Like, with this whole pandemic, and what do you have career-wise coming up?
I mean, that's a funny question, Gary. Come on, who knows? Who the fuck knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
I
Well, I
think.
see that you're digging into your library. You're putting
Yeah.
stuff out on social media. You're utilizing
Yeah.
kind of like I'm doing. I'm utilizing the resources I have available to me, and then live comedy for a while is going to be off. And I've been doing Zoom shows. Do you do Zoom stuff? You've been doing a few. Zoom
I just
ones
got
here and
hit
there.
up by our friend. I'm probably going to do one. Probably going to do one.
Cool.
I haven't done one in a while, but I think this. I'm going to put all my stuff out there. Like now, my special stupid smart. It's on Tubi. It's on Roku. It's on Prime. It's on 10 OTTs. That's what you have to do. As long as my stuff is out there and it's clipped up and I promote it, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Let the audience know. Hopefully they consume it. In the meanwhile, I'm going to create other stuff, working on a script, talking to my agent, trying to pitch stuff. But I mean, I've had some Zoom pitches, but live comedy, I have no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing's going to happen until after the election.
Yeah. We'll see. So hey,
But
thank you. Yeah. Oh, was that?
Yeah. I said, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Is
we've
that it?
seen
You're
some
wrapping up?
comedians. Yeah, that's.
Give me the
I'm
wrap
slowly
up?
wrapping up. Hold on one sec. But like, yeah, I'll cut this. But yeah, I'll do a wrap up thing. But yeah, we don't know where stand up's going. We've seen some comedians try to do stand up in different areas of the country, and half of them have caught the virus. So,
Yeah.
do we want to take the risk and go around the country? And I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know.
I don't. I think we gotta wait. It's not gonna be really any freedom until we get some type of vaccine, right?
So that was Jamie Kennedy. I hope you found that as interesting as I did. And please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my upcoming interviews. And see you soon.